All right, very quickly, we'll have another presentation. You know, yesterday when we talked about the future of payment, we did say, one of the panelists mentioned that we should rely on existing systems to build a better future. We should not completely jettison or get rid of what we have existing, but we should build on that to make way for the future. Now we would have a conversation, a presentation, titled Maximizing the Known and Navigating the New, which for me is in furtherance to the conversation that happened yesterday. This will be delivered by the Vice President and Head West Africa at Visa, Andrew Uaboi. He is, however, ably represented by a financial services professional with over 17 years experience in a variety of industries, including banking, payments, education, and telecommunications. She has been with Visa for over 4 years and currently heads the push payments team in sub-Saharan Africa and oversees the solutions management organization in West and Central Africa. Please let's make welcome for a presentation on maximizing the known and navigating the new, Nkebet Meseli. A warm round of applause for her, please. Thank you. Let's applaud her as she approaches the stage. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm standing on existing protocols. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Thank you for having Visa here. Zenith is a valued partner for Visa, and we're happy to be here. Unfortunately, Andrew couldn't be here. He's at Qatar. As some of you know who have been watching football, you will see the Visa logo in the stadium, so he's there. So today we're meant to talk on future of payment system, but I liked to title it here, and I thank her for doing the topic, saying the topic for me, maximizing the known and navigating the new. Can I have a clicker? Thank you. All right. Okay, so we're just going to go quickly. I have 15 minutes. I'm timing myself. We'll just talk about the trends in consumer behavior, the future in payment system, and what's the role of Visa. So, now, can you imagine losing as a bank or as a fintech or as a payment provider, losing 1/2 of your population? Now, when I mean your population is your customer. So whoever is your customer in your sphere is your population. Now, when we did this study, we found out that 30% of global customers would stop interacting with a company after a bad experience. You know, gone are the days when people will say, they are not bad, but we will just manage them. Now, people are quite irritable. So after one bad experience, they said they would junk. Some said they would junk after several bad experiences. Now, what did that lead us to? So we realized that customers have really, really strong values they place towards the brand they support. And so some would even pay more than pay less for a bad customer experience. Now, in going further, I like the Gen Z. I'm gone are the days when the Gen Z were in school. Now the Gen Zs are in our work environments. So they are here. There's nothing we can do. Do I have Gen Zs in the house? You will know them. They are available. So we realized when we looked at the Gen Z population, there is a mix, and now there's Gen X, which I think are giving a Gen Z the run for their money. So Gen Zs expect that they would stay with a brand when they are loyal. If a Gen Z is loyal to a brand, they will market the brand, they will stay with the brand, but if they have one experience, they are going to move away. So trust is very important for them. They are more diverse and they are demanding in what they want. So as a bank, as Zenith, and as fintechs and as payment providers here, it's important to note that we are looking through the sphere of customers. So it's not only the millennials, you now have a mix of the millennials, the boomers, the Gen Zs, and the Gen X. And these are the people who would do free marketing for you. So loyalty for them is earned when you build their trust. Now, so seeing as we've now realized we have this mix of customers, so how do we look at the future in payments? So I'm going to look at 3 forward-looking topics. First is customer experience, second is loyalty, and the third will be looking at new frontiers. Now, the first is your customer experience. If you look at this graph, you'll see that, and this was a PwC graph that was done, when we're told, sorry, my screen isn't here, so I'm going to have to look this way. Now, we were told we told customers to say what is worth paying for. So when it comes to overall customer experience, now how do you rate the importance? You'd see that efficiency was number 1, convenience was number 2, knowledge, and then easy payments. There was friendly service there, but what was most important for them was the efficiency. So no matter how beautiful you build a product, no matter how shiny it is, if it fails, you would lose your customer segments. So as you build into the future, efficiency is key. Do I know that when I take my phone, or I take that app, or I take a card, or I go anywhere with any of the payment products, I'm sure that it will work? Or do I have to say a prayer before I make a payment? Do I have to say a prayer before I do a transaction? Efficiency has become really key, and it is going to even grow more as we progress. Now, COVID was an amazing journey for everyone. COVID changed the way we saw life, and COVID changed the way commerce was done. There was a study that said that by 2024, e-commerce sale will get to 7 trillion worldwide. Now, when we say commerce sale, e-commerce sale, it's no longer just I go to a website, I put in my card details, and it goes. E-commerce has become many things. It's social media, it's social commerce, it's doing chatbots, it's anything that you need to do without being present there. But one thing we realized was, as e-commerce is going to grow, we found out that COVID made customers lazy. Now, what do I mean? Lazy in a good way. In that, customers want things quickly. They don't want to go to the banking hall, for instance. They don't want to go to the market. And so you'd even see there are now deliveries for things like onions. There's now delivery for things, for anything now. People do not want to see each other anymore as much as they would avoid or they can avoid. So even when it comes to e-commerce, customers said they would prefer a one-click solution than putting my card, PIN, OTP, expiry date. Can I just go and check out, put in a password and move on? And I liked when Dr. Onaji talked about tokens. So we're going to look at that because that's going to be a key aspect. Now, when you look at these pictures, I talked about people not wanting to see people. I'm sure we're familiar with Amazon Go. So Amazon Go created the frictionless, touchless store. Go there, don't talk to anybody, don't interact with a cashier, go and buy what you want to buy and walk out. Once you walk out, they will debit you. That is the future of payments. That is what we need to be striving to see in Nigeria. There's also experiential. More and more entities, banks, fintechs, e-commerce providers, even merchants are starting to provide experiential things. So for instance, this is a mattress manufacturer saying that before you buy the mattress, you can actually test it. So as we look into our offerings to our customers, are we looking at providing trial periods? Are we looking to providing experiential experiences so that they can make decisions on that? Now, we looked at delivery. Delivery has become mainstay. Everywhere I go, I see an Okada that is delivering something. it is here to stay, and we really need, as entities, to tap in on it. There's also the robots. As I came in here and I saw Ziva, I laughed and I said, okay, maybe very soon Ziva will start making payments for us, which is great, and that is what the future should look like. Now, as we look into loyalty, what I want to draw up here from these two images is that companies have stopped being regular companies. When you look at Amazon, Amazon was known for what? E-commerce, right? You go there, you buy, you see something, you buy from a seller and you go. Alibaba, same thing. Now, what have these two companies done? They've understood the importance of loyalty, and they've started to embed different things. Everything you see around here are the companies that have been offshoots of Alibaba and companies that have been offshoots of Amazon. As a business, you cannot afford to just be on one payment road as you progress. You have to diversify. As banks, as fintechs, you need to be a platform. Because if as a customer, I have to get one thing from you, go to download another app to get another thing from here, download another app, when I see a platform that allows me to do all these three things, I'm going to move to that platform. Customers now want efficiency and ease of payment. So we have embedded finance now. So embedded finance is what we're going to see as one of the key hallmarks to growth as we move into 2023, 2024, and beyond. Sorry. So, again, we need to build digital platforms that will enable this. And I like the hackathon, and I'm really excited to see what is going to come out of it. Sometimes we feel that building just has to be, oh, it's an easy way to debit and credit. How much more are we looking at it? Can we look at building different sub-companies under Zenith that would come together and offer that holistic experience? And I'm hoping we'll see some of that today. Okay, I'm going to then talk about new frontiers, contactless. I'll go back to COVID. After COVID hit, people did not want to touch each other again. How many times did you go to, and I'm sure if I ask for a raise of hands here, go to somewhere after COVID, put in your card, and when the person gave you back your card, you used sanitizer to clean it? Were many on that WhatsApp group, right? Yes. So that is what happened after COVID. People did not want touch payments, contact payments anymore. And recently, there was a framework released by the central bank on the contactless framework, which is good. Because if you look at this graph, this is the contactless rate in just sub-Saharan Africa alone. Now you look at West Africa, we're a distant, small brother in the graph. And we're one of the largest payment economies, right? Which is what was said. So we need to live up to that reputation. So as we get into the future, we will see more contactless payments. And this is kind of evolution I want us to look at. So today, and Zenith Bank, I must applaud them, were one of our first banks to go live with virtual cards in the market. And they were also the first bank to offer virtual cards on USSD. I think they deserve a round of applause for that. But you see, virtual cards are limiting because it only allows you to do e-commerce transactions. So instead of using your physical card, you can use a virtual card. Now, we want to move to a point where we carry that card, so you don't need to have physical cards anymore. You have your phone with you. I brought my phone with me to keep me on time, so it means I always have my phone with me. So we move that card into the phone, and instead of using it just for your online payments or your e-commerce, you are able to use that phone as your card, and you're able to tap to pay. So which means we have tokenized that card. So you can go a month without having your physical card. So this is the way we see payments move. Now, what is most interesting, if you look at this picture of this pepper seller, She's holding a phone, and the person paying is holding another phone. What we want to do is take out that need for a POS. Today, for every POS that Zenith Bank issues, they need to have return on investment on it. For every fintech here issuing a POS, it needs to make sense for them to give it to a small business. This lady is not going to be able to pay for it, but she has a smartphone. It may not be an Apple phone, it may be a Xiaomi phone, but she has a phone, and it is a phone that has NFC. So we have to start thinking of how to turn these phones and turn even my wristwatch here into a card, into a payment device. And we have started that in Nigeria. So it's one of the things we aim and we need to see as we grow the future. So that means as we look into the future, everybody would be able to accept payments. The last panelist talked about people on the road. So imagine a person on the road just downloading an app and is able to accept payments. That is the future of payments. When we look at tokenization, in August 2022, we issued, by August 2022, we had about 1.2 million tokens issued. So which meant that issue of cybersecurity that Kelly talked about, I don't need to now be afraid of where I put my card. Did I put it on this site? Will there be fraud on it? I can now use tokens. So when I put in my card there, it is converted into a token. So I can see, even if that website is hacked, Uber is hacked, whatever it is, my card information is secure because it is a token and not a card number. That is where the future is going. Now I'm going to talk about the last thing here, Metaverse. You know, you'll be logically asking yourself, this Metaverse, everybody talks about it. What is the Metaverse? Even I cannot tell you fully what the Metaverse is. But again, I go back to COVID. COVID made the Metaverse very, very popular. Why? Because it created 4 different aspects. One, the need for a virtual world. So for people who were not able to go out, people who needed to play with their friends, Gen Zs, Gen Xs, the 10-year-old, 11-year-olds were creating virtual worlds where they could play games, they could earn money. So there was now the virtual world, which was I could build an avatar. There was now the payments aspect, which meant I could have a fiat. I could have a digital currency from a Roblox, from a Fortnite, and I could use it to earn. But there was an issue, and there is still an issue. And it's an issue I'm hoping we would sort here, or an issue I'm hoping that as we think through the future of payments, we think about those things. Today, all these are closed loop. I won't be able to move money from Roblox into Fortnite and vice versa. As the e-Naira develops, the CBDC, we expect that in tandem, we have fiat currencies being developed by the banks. How about we have a fiat currency from Nigeria that can be used internationally in all these virtual worlds? It's something to think about. But you see, as we did that, and as we looked at the growth in the Metaverse, we saw that big brands were not sleeping. And so we can't afford to sleep on this. You can see all these brands, I'm not going to mention them. More and more, they got into Metaverse, and they are offering their products on these Metaverse virtual world sites. So as a country, as entities, as businesses, as a bank, we cannot afford not to be part of this new virtual global economy. Now, what is the role of Visa in all this? Visa is not a bank. Visa will never be a bank. Visa would never have a B2C. We always work with banks and we work with financial institutions. Now, what we expect to see as we look at the way payments are going is, today we are great in NIP, we're great in instant payments. Unfortunately, it is instant payments as plain vanilla. I only transfer from here, it goes here instantly, great. How about we build value-added services on that? How about we start to pioneer integrated services that allows me do more with my NIP, We have open banking that has been created. What can we do with that? That is the only way we would have an economy where a customer can have 3 bank accounts and not walk into the bank for 7 months. I'm sure if we had less people working into the banks would be very happy. I'm sure any bank would be very happy if they didn't have to have their banking halls crowded. Now, when we look at the fintechs, we just finished what we call Fintech 1.0, which was laying the blocks. And I'm sure if you heard from GB and Tosin and every other fintech here, you'd see that there's a lot that is happening in that space. So we are now in Fintech 2.0. But you see, what I always say is fintechs need financial institutions to thrive. And that is the role, and Zenith has gotten this to a T. And so we expect that as we go further, we are able to then partner with the bank to do this. So the role of Visa is just in 2 forms as I close. Make payments seamless and grow your business. When we say make payments seamless, it means that anywhere you go in the world, as long as the sun shines, as long as people are able to make payments, you should be able to make payments regardless of where you brought that card from, or you brought, as we said, future of payments, your phone from. You should be able to make a payment. Continuous optimization. We talked about efficiency. If the customer does not have a good experience, they will not come back. How are we creating that optimization and that continuous improvement? Fraud. We cannot overemphasize fraud. Today, are we able to see exactly where our customer was? So those are the kinds of building blocks we work with our partners such as Zenith to develop risk frameworks, fraud optimizations, and services. Now, we've made this payment seamless. Now, how do we grow it? So we work in creating that user journey that can be done, that can help with that payment. So for instance, how do I make account opening seamless? How do I make that digital journey in terms of getting the merchant set up, making sure the merchant doesn't have to come to the bank, making sure the merchant can see what the customer did, making sure loyalty can be built from that app that the merchant used. Those are the kinds of things we expect to build. So customer-led insights where my merchant knows that every Tuesday I buy bread, and knows that every Tuesday I will buy 2 loaves of bread. Now the day I come and I buy 1 loaf, then he sees that there is a problem. And he's able to then say, because you always buy 2 loaves of bread every week, at week 5, I will probably give you a donut as part of loyalty. Those are led insights. And that customer can take this information to the bank to say, I have 12 customers who are loyal, who give me 50,000 a month. Therefore, I'm able to access this level of facility. That is how we expect to see payments grow. Now, whether you're here and you're a fintech or a bank, our common goal should be to build customer-centric, sustainable and profitable businesses. Business models and an ecosystem that would help Nigeria as an economy thrive. So, living here today, we expect that you go back thinking, living the vanilla way of doing business. Oh, it's a card, it's RTP, it's NIP, this is how we've been doing, to thinking about how do we create that experience for the customer that breeds loyalty, that builds trust, that builds efficiency. My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your informative, insightful, very powerful presentation. Can we please applaud her one more time?